Welcome back and thank you for watching. I am Yolandi. This is the third video of this series for not-for-profits. In the previous videos we covered how to set up a not-for-profit organization in QuickBooks and how to activate projects, classes and locations. We also covered how to add a project and how to add income and expenses to projects. In our case it's grants. Today we will be going over how to use QuickBooks to track funding in advance. Please note that the strategy used in this video for keeping track of funding in advance is for this purpose. At the end of the financial year, an adjustment will have to be made for reporting purposes. We will go over that later. Okay, so let's begin. Firstly, we go to Sales on the left-hand side and click on Donors. This will show a list of donors if you have donors set up already. So we are going to add a new donor called Funding in Advance. In the display name, type in Funding in Advance. That is all you need to add. Click Save. And you can just click back out of that. Just go to Donors. So now you'll see you have a Funding in Advance as a donor. To add one of your donors you've already created to Funding in Advance, you click on the Department of Grants, so for example 101, and click on the Donor Details. Click Edit, and you will see there is a Is Sub-Donor tick box. Check that for Funding in Advance. Save. You can go back to the donors, and you will see that now the Department of Grant 101 is under Funding in Advance. This will help you to see a list of all the grants that are included in the Funding in Advance total. So that will be easy for you to keep track of the total amount that is in Funding in Advance and what it's made up of. Let's create a new donor and say Grant or Department of Grant 103. And same as with Edit, you just tick this box and select Funding in Advance and save. And click back to Donor so we can see. So you'll see Funding in Advance is the total, and then Department 101 and Department 103. I'm going to add this one also to Funding in Advance just to show you that this Funding in Advance will show the total of all that is listed underneath it. So let's click on Department of Grant, go to the Donor Details, click Edit, check this Sub-Donor checkbox and select Funding in Advance, save. Go back to Donors. Now you can see Funding in Advance, total 480,000, and where these are all the different departments or donors amounts showing. And that is that for setting up Funding in Advance. That is as easy as it is. If you'd like to do a report, you can do it by the Reports section, and you can go down to the Who Owes Me, Accounts Receivable Aging Summary, and here you can see Funding in Advance. That's the total. Funding in Advance. And you can see here what it's made up of. And you can see that Department Grant 101 is made up of Grant 101, which is one of our projects. And you can also see that Department 102 is made up of Grant 102 total amount. So you'll see that there is just one portion. Not everything has been allocated to a specific grant, but you've received some monies for this donor that's separate from the one that you have received under your grant. So that's why there's that difference. I didn't allocate all the funds to this grant here. So that's a nice report you can print to see what your funding in advance is made up of. And you can click into that, and then you can see the transactions. So that makes it so much easier to see where that funds are coming from and where it's going to, just by allocating it in that way. As far as I was telling you about the adjustment at the end of the year, that is for financial reporting purposes. And if you have this total per this report, it's just in one journal that you do. You just allocate it to accounts receivables and then to a current liability. That's as easy as it is. Thank you once again for watching my videos. I really appreciate it. And stay tuned. I have some other videos coming up next week. Thank you.